Hey guys, welcome back to Planet Zoo, to Hobbiton Zoo, as we call this zoo of mine here. Um, Today's video, guys, I am making a little bit more Hobbit stuff, and then I am adding our second animal, which is the pangolins. I really love armadillos; they're freaking awesome. So I thought that that should be my second animal to this park here, and they're also very small. So it makes perfect sense to have them in this zoo as well. But the first thing you are seeing me build is a new hobbit house. I am trying a different style again, because a lot of you came back that say that it was like looking very Chinese. The hobbit houses I did for the peafowl habitat. So I wanted to try and give it another go, to make a little bit different style of hobbit house with a shop inside. So that's kinda what you guys are seeing me do here at the start of the video. I'm trying to make my own wall here because we don't really have any wall that have these sort of shapes and angles to it. So I took the custom windows, or the windows as I did on the previous hobbit houses, and just turned them around, and that gives me that white line plaster feel that you see the wall have here. So afterwards, I am trying to figure out a way to detail it, to use some different pieces on this guy, which I didn't use on the other hobbit house, because I wanted to make this a little bit more different, and I actually feel like that this build turns out way better than the first builds, and that's kind of like what I do when I build these parks here, is that I usually always start, and then my builds usually evolve because I get more ideas to it and I get to know the pieces a bit more, and you get more confident about what you're building also. So all these kind of things have a big factor in this. And I'm really liking, as you guys have heard me say, how this building looks. It looks more woody, more forestry, where the others were more, fancy, more like with the colors. And it had to kind of like match well with the peafowls, which has these purple, blue kind of colors. So I felt like those colors would pop up very nicely in their habitat. But as I say here, I'm trying a little bit sort of different style, because I also, as I say, building the pangolin habitat, which is gonna have this sort of hobbit archway entrance, and then I'm gonna make this sort of inside, like you go inside of a hobbit house, and then you look in the middle to the pangolins, and that's also, I don't think that I am finishing off the entire thing in this video, so there will probably come a part 2, but for now I feel like that that where I'm at now was kind of like okay, and I could stop it at that point and then build further on next time. So that's kind of like what I want to do. I also feel like that, you see here I'm using the hedges, which is something I used in Planet Coaster as well, when I built some hobbit houses there. So I tried to make the same here with it, and it actually works quite well, because afterwards I'm gonna cover it up with terrain and all that stuff, so it feels more into the ground than just being, standing outside here, or just being there out of nowhere. So that's kind of like the goal so far, and I feel like the more hobbit houses I build, the more different they're gonna get, and also the better they're gonna get. And we do not have so many pieces, as you guys heard me say in the last video. I'm kind of missing that, where we have like so many pieces in Planko. And I also think I might need to start using some basic shapes to get some more trim work going on, because I'm not really satisfied with the trims we have so far in the game. So I think it's maybe we need to make some custom ones ourselves, but that shouldn't be too crazy to do that. You guys can see here I'm starting to have this building quite nice here now, just adding some little bit more detailing to it, and then afterwards I'm gonna try cover it up with some terrain and all that stuff. But I'm actually quite happy how this turned out looking. I might make this a blueprint where I'm just gonna use the hedges as kind of like being the terrain going over it, and then people can always just terrain themselves. But I feel like this is a neat little blueprint, and maybe if I have made a few of them with different shops in, so people can kind of like make their own little areas and such. So I might put these out on at some blueprints at some point, guys, when I feel like I have enough, so you guys can also create your own little Hobbiton village or something like that, whatever what you guys want to use it for. But yeah, doing some trim work here again, as you guys can see, just trying to at least make it look somewhat pretty with some of the trim pieces we do have. And I'm kind of happy on the turnout. But anyways, we are moving towards the next section, which is gonna be this hobbit arch I'm gonna do that goes into the pangolin habitat, which is something you will see me do at the end of the video, guys. It's a lot of building here in the start, but at this particular here, I was doing the same thing as I did to the other one by using this window here, and so I kind of like have control around the shape itself and how I wanted it. And I also feel like that the more I put into this, and also like the terrain is kind of annoying to work with sometimes. Also, if you have pathing and all that, it won't let you, terrain all the way down to the path. It makes this sort of little invincible wall you can't see that just don't want to terrain anymore. So I had to like go back and forth all the time to delete some and then add some, delete some. Mainly the pathing to make the terrain look okay, because it was quite of a pickle to make it look nice. But I've managed to make it work quite well, and I'm quite happy with that. This building, a Hobbiton or Hobbit house here, is gonna be a mix of the two I've done. It's gonna be a little bit of the East Asia pieces. I have to have some of them on because they really just add such a nice trim to it. And then I'm gonna have a little bit of a wooden feeling too, as you guys saw me just build on the other one. So mainly what I had in mind here was mainly have this sort of a little, feel like it's a hobbit home and you go into it. And then when you go into it, you have this pangolin habitat, which you can go all the way around and then you can look inside to them. And I gotta say, I'm actually quite happy how this entire build turned out. I do have a little bit of bugs now. I get that little thing where it freezes for me a few times, which I hope it's just a little thing I have and will not be the situation I had at the beta, where every time I placed something or a barrier, it just literally just freeze or froze for like it felt like 5 minutes, probably wasn't, but it was really long. I'm getting that bug a little bit, but I hope it was just at that point when I was in the park. So yeah, I hope next time I go in it that it's gone. But as you guys can see here, I'm just trying to trim off this this hobbit house here, making it super inviting, and also keeping the same vibe as I've done on the others. And I gotta say, this actually turned out super cool. I used the windows, I put them under or beneath the circle windows, so they kind of like so it looks like windows, and they also have this sort of pattern on them, and I kind of like how that looks. You see me go back and forth here with a lot of trims. I was struggling a lot to figure out a way to cover up some of all this whiteness it has, but I did manage to get through it and find a way. You guys will see that later on, where I also will add some foliage and some stuff on the top there, really closer it in, so it feels very cozy and inviting. I don't really know which animal I'm gonna focus on next for the zoo. I might go in next time and do some more scenery building, and then just give it a rest with some animals, and then maybe just give my thoughts on what I want to do more about here around this project here. Because I still have a few more animals I want to, but I just don't know which animals I should focus on first and get into this park here. Because I don't want every enclosure to look the same, which is not this case for the pangolins and the peafowls. The peafowls habitat is huge. I also saw someone wrote it last time, and I know it's quite big. But I do kind of feel like that it's quite nice that it's so big. It kind of like gives this super nice opening from where you get in. But we will see the further on I go into this series. if there's anything that I will go back and change up. But right now it's not my first priority. I just want to fiddle around a bit and see if I can get that Hobbiton vibe, as the zoo is called. And I do feel like after this episode here, after I started to terrain a little bit more, making these nice super small hills and valleys and all that stuff, I kind of feel like that the Hobbiton vibe is coming out quite nice here. And I kind of want to have this sort of vibe going on, especially for this first section of the park here, where I basically want some small animals, peafowls. And then we have the pangolins. Maybe red pandas would be a nice idea to have over here at some point. And then when we go to the right side of the entrance, we might be able to add a little bit more different animals. Maybe some different biomes instead of only these. And I also think that whenever this is gonna be done, I can't wait to like look at all this in snow. This is gonna look super cool, I bet. Haven't really looked at it so much yet. Only just saw it at the first time when I built the Hobbiton entrance and then the big shop I did. So I'm quite curious to see where. Maybe we'll check that out in the next video. You guys see me here starting on the habitat here, and I'm starting a little bit slow because I'm trying to figure out a way to make a nice little circle. Not that it's a straight circle, but just figuring out how it would look if this was possible to do. And the more I added and the more I kind of went into it, I was kind of like, you know what, this might actually work. So my goal with it was kind of like just to do this, and then afterwards go in and then edit the wall sets and all that stuff. So basically what you see me do here now is mainly just some quick things to see if things actually works out for me, and if it goes for the way I planned it. So I'm doing a lot of changes to this build here I'm doing now. Like first of all, when I first built it and I added it to the class walls, I built the arch where you look through so high that the kids they couldn't see through, and that was not my goal with it, of course. So you'll see me here in the first start of it, just building it all the way around, and then I do some stuff off camera where I polish the wall a little bit, and yeah, do some stuff that is not super important. It's mainly just tedious and boring to look at. So yeah, that's basically what I'm doing now, guys. So while you guys are watching me building all this stuff here and also starting a little bit on the habitat, I will give you some music and then I will return. So enjoy, guys. Alright, guys, hope you enjoyed the music. You have been seeing me struggle a little bit inside this hobbit house here that I'm trying to do. The terrain is quite the pickle to do. As you guys know, it's all from Planet Coaster, so we always struggle with it. And also having the path going too close to the terrain makes us do so we can't really do anything to the terrain. So I had to delete some pathing and then add the path afterwards to get that the terrain where I wanted it to be inside here. But at the start here, it just wasn't possible for me to get it all the way up where I actually wanted it. So in the start of it, I just put down some big logs instead, kind of like to hold the terrain. And then the rest that you have seen me do here, building like some sort of a little support to hold up the terrain inside. I mean, even though we build fantasy stuff, we still have to, in some way, have a realistic view on it. So we actually have something holding the Hobbit house, all the walls and the dirt from falling down and all that stuff. And as I said, this was my part 1. I will do a lot more stuff. I don't know if it will be next video, but I will definitely do some more stuff to this area here, because the interior where the guests walk around still needs a lot of love. I'm not totally satisfied with it yet. It still needs some love. And I was also kind of like, I didn't really know what more to add at this point, since I was actually working on this for 6 hours, I think. And I had a little bit of a situation with the X button. You guys already know it, where it stops working and stuff. So I had to reboot 1 or 2 times while I was building this. But if that's the case, then so be it. I'm not gonna be bothered by any bugs anymore. I'm enjoying the game as it is, and I can build some nice stuff here. So as you guys saw here, I put in some education boards, and then I kind of like trimmed them a little bit, or gave them a little bit of a look, so it's just not like this iron beam or iron monitor that stands in the middle of something where it doesn't belong. So I tried to in some way incorporate into the building itself, so it feels like it's just more pictures hanging than a real like big monitor thing standing on the ground. And here afterwards, I'm trying to enclosure this part in with a little bit of wall. I don't know why I wanted to do that, but I just felt like that it would look kind of cool to have some sort of little enclosure in here to like this sort of little thing you saw me do. And then I'm adding a little bit of clutter, some pictures, some plants, and a little bit of stuff to make this area feel more livable in some way. Because I can't really do a lot of interior, because I want the guests to walk around in here. So the main goal is that where I can hang stuff or play stuff, that's where I'm gonna do it. I'm not sure if I have it off or on camera, but I do end up placing the water facility thing and the power thing behind the walls, so you don't see them, but the mechanic of course can still reach them. He just goes straight into the wall, but who cares. You see me here, as I said, adding the last little bit of things here to make it look nice here, because I feel like after I build these monitors, it felt a little bit bare here, and I'm probably gonna build something of this all the way around in here to make it feel like cozy and nice, and then make it look like it fits for the pangolins as well, even though they are Chinese, but we still managed to make it work. So this is the right side I'm doing in this video. I'm not really doing anything else inside here. Mainly just now focusing on the pangolin habitat. As you guys can see, it's not a really big one, so it was not really anything that took too much time to do. But I didn't want it to make the same mistakes as I did with the peafowls, making it too big. So I wanted to keep it rather small instead. So that's kind of like what you are seeing me do here. Making a little cave for them here so they can go underneath the ground and chill out there. I feel like that was kind of cool. And after, actually, when I saw them afterwards, I was like, wow, they are really, really tiny. Of course, they are that in real life too. But I was quite happy that the scale I did for the habitat for them actually seems quite big, consider their size. So I put 4 in here after I made the habitat just with a little bit of terrain and some water, and then afterwards I'm trying to like see what do they like and what don't they like, and then I just kind of go with it afterwards and do some habitat stuff in here, adding some trees, some bushes, and some enrichments and all that kind of stuff. And then afterwards I go back and do that thing I said with the walls, making it a little bit more nice for the kids so they can also look through these arches I did. You saw me do that on where the keeper comes into the habitat. I kind of like just did that on some of the few windows, make it look nice so it doesn't look just super random that there are a few windows that are bigger than others, but kind of like made it systematic in some way so it feels like it was made in that way. And here I was having a little struggle with the sleeping thing. Every time I placed it down, it removed the terrain, even though I don't have flattened the terrain on. So I just gave up and just put it next to the cave itself. So the cave is just the thing they can walk down in and have hang out there. And here we are at that point I told you where the kids also have a chance to look through here. And I kind of felt like that was quite nice to have that some places here in the where they go around and look a bit. Because I didn't really consider that when I first built them. I just thought it looked cool, and then I was like walking around, and then I was like, well, I like that the kid actually stands and pointing, but he can't really see anything, so that's quite impressive. But we have to consider that, right? So that's what I did, and as you can see here now it's just going a little bit crazy with some plants and stuff inside of this habitat here. And what I like about these guys is that they're not really, how do you say? They don't mind a lot of foliage and all that stuff, so I could go a little bit ham here, which is super cool. So I think the habitat itself is quite done, but the exterior, which is kind of the interior of where the guests are walking, I still need to fix that up a bit and then place a little bit more foliage around the whole, so it feels more natural to have it covered with more trees and stuff from the top down view. And I still don't know if I should add some sort of a viewing platform, just a little one from the top so they can actually look down on them as well. But anyways, let me hear your guys' thoughts on what you think of this so far, and if you have any ideas, suggestions, or if you would like to see an animal, what kind of animal do you want to see and whatnot. But anyways, guys, if you like the video, give it a like. I would appreciate it. If you like the content, subscribe for more. And just remember, guys, stay awesome, have an amazing day, and thanks so much for watching. Enjoy the cinematics, guys. Bye.